right, we're live. Naruto 681 and episode 366. It was all information dump this week, and people are not happy with every part of it. Let's just go there. Okay, let's start the first page, and Michael, you're going to be jumping from two different translations, so if there's any issues, you're going to bring that up, right?
Right.
Okay, page 1. Sasuke's attack. Anything on page 1?
Pretty consistent. Really cool that Sasuke is able to. Well, actually, that's on the second page, but it kind of looks like he's slowing himself down with the Susanoo. Actually, on the first page, like in the back, right? Doesn't it look like that? That the Susanoo is like kind of like being emitted from his back. I guess trying to slow down the fall.
Well, it could be. It could be. I'm going to go ahead and skip to the next page.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, with fan art, and depending on different ones, it's different places. Okay, Naruto and Sasuke get caught into each other. Now's our chance for Obito, and Naruto with arms everywhere. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Kakashi feeling guilty about having to nail Obito to the wall, but the alternative was the lava, right? So.
What's so cool about it is that's his shadow clone. His shadow clone is floating just like he is.
Right.
And saving all his friends or whatever. But yeah, Sasuke showing that he has like instant teleportation abilities with his, his Sharingan. And yeah, pretty cool. And then I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that Naruto is using one of his black balls for Sasuke to stand on in the next page.
Right.
You see at the bottom, you see the circular sphere, and you see it goes flat. I'm pretty sure that's what Sasuke is standing on.
So he can do a lot of stuff with him. That does look interesting, yeah.
Yeah, man, Naruto, he's got a lot of power.
We received some amazing abilities from the Sage of the Six Paths Powers. But if we don't seal her right away, it basically means nothing. So, All right, next page. Okay, now she sneaks up on him, right? It's like she came out of a shadow or something, right?
Like a dimensional rift.
Yeah, something like that. Do you remember the before the time skip, that one Zabuza, the one that worked with Zabuza, the one that used the ice mirrors and was able to come out of any of the mirrors or whatever?
Yeah, Haku.
Yeah, and that's so just boom, just comes out of this shadow area, and I was like, well, okay. Snuck up on him, and then I'm fine with that. And then somehow she spins him around.
What up, peoples?
Hey, what's going on? You made it.
Yep.
Hey.
We're live, by the way.
Hey, Mike.
What's up, brother?
How you been, man?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm all right, man. Everything's good.
All right, good to hear that. Have you did you like this week's chapter or what?
Oh, did I? Holy moly.
We're getting ready to get into it now. So I mean, if you can get your chapter open if you want, because we're getting Kaguya sneaks up on him, spins him around, and looks at him and cries. So
right.
She paralyzed him somehow. She sneaks up on him, paralyzes him, and then she sees her two sons and cries.
Yeah, I would love to see how in the anime, like when this gets animated, they should make it like an instantaneous thing, like really quick, like you said with Haku's mirrors. It would be good if it was like that because it looks pretty slow in the manga version.
Yeah, I think the anime is always going to have a different effect than the manga because we'll really get to see the real emotion behind it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that's going to be good when it does get animated. Or I hope. Well, lately, Studio Period's been doing a good job on the anime, so hopefully they do the same thing with when that comes out.
Right. it was a good episode this week. We'll of course get to that as soon as we get done with this. But now she throws Black Zetsu on him, and she's draining chakra from both of them slowly, very slowly.
I just gotta say that Kaguya as a character is like, she's really like making an impression on me. Like when I saw her face, you know, full of tears or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't want to hate her. I don't want to hate her like a villain. I feel bad for Kaguya. I feel like, you know, she got a pretty crappy set of circumstances thrown at it. No matter how, you know, no matter how, like, you know, villainous she was, or oh, you got that? So yeah, so like no matter how villainous Kaguya was and how power hungry, whatever, you know, she's still like a mother that got betrayed by her children, or whatever, and it's just like, I don't know, Kishi's doing a good job making me like care about her character, even though she like just appeared.
Yeah, I just wish we got like some sort of flashback about how, you know, she all got started. That's the only confusing thing with her character right now. But I'm very sure he's going to explain it later on. So.
Yeah, definitely though we'll get more exposition on her.
Well, hopefully he'll just have to explain it once, and he won't have to come at it.
Yeah, that's true.
A few more times, you know what I mean? Yeah. So she's slowly draining their chakra, and Black Zetsu's like, well, hey, let me tell you some stories. I've been around forever, and let me tell you guys, I've been changing stuff and making you guys fight each other. So this has been crazy. And I mean, this is, yeah, good.
I find that kind of interesting though, because the guy, when he first came into the anime, he just like came out of nowhere, and everybody, I never forget that day. Everybody said, "Who the heck is this plant guy?" You know what I mean? And then after that, we just seen him do stuff periodically. You know what I mean? And then getting more involved, and now to find out this, that he was behind everything, is like a huge shocker to a lot of people.
It's consistent. Let me throw this out here. Well, we're going to get into more stuff, but I'm going to read a tiny little end of something that D from Dub it. Even Madara was a puppet of Kaguya Black Zetsu. This manga is an infinite series of main villains being the puppets of someone else in a Russian doll-like fashion.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been saying this because it's just an observation. It's switch and switch and switch, right? They get to a certain point, but this isn't a full switch. This is a part of Kaguya, I guess, right? But anyway, we can go ahead and get into some of the dialogue, right? So so instead of Kaguya saying, "You remind me of my sons" or whatever, Black Zetsu starts. As Kaguya looks at both of you, it appears she's reminded. You remind her of her two sons. So gentle, so sweet, isn't she? Kaguya, who was sealed away in us, her own children. It makes you truly feel sorry for a mother like that, doesn't it?
You know what's just like so great about Black Zetsu talking for Kaguya?
Mm-hmm.
It gives you the impression that Kaguya isn't really capable of, like, you know, getting herself together to speak and to think. It's like she's just driven by emotion, driven on. I mean, I know she spoke before, you know, in previous chapters, but it just creates that feel that Kaguya is like an emotional mess right now, and that's why Black Zetsu is talking for her. And I just feel like that really gets you more into her character.
Yeah, I agree.
And Black Zetsu lays it out. I am Kaguya's child. So,
Kaguya,
yeah, I don't understand it. Is that like supposed to be some sort of metaphor, or is he really her child?
well,
Steve, what part does he say that I'm really her child? What page is that?
it's the top part. Well, it's the top part of 10.
Oh, but you read the manga stream though, right?
Yeah.
I'm comparing both of them actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he says, but that's the same thing that I heard in a much earlier translation too. So, I am Kaguya's child.
Wow.
But but that could still mean that that doesn't mean that it's changed as far as him being the will of Kaguya, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it could just be a manifestation of Kaguya's chakra or something.
Well,
Something.
my understanding is like he was like before she got sealed.
Yeah.
I guess he was her last creation.
Right.
But I took it as because I've seen other reviews and heard stuff from Forever World and saw your image and a whole bunch of other reviews, and they were saying basically the same thing. Like like maybe that was her last creation before she actually got sealed.
Well, and we can look back at what Madara thought he was doing, I suspect, is what Kaguya did. But put part of her essence into a white Zetsu that already used to be a person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And had been converted into a white Zetsu, and then she did, went ahead and put some of her essence in it. So this thing's got a mommy complex to her. That's what I think. That's my theory or whatever. I don't think that's too far out there, but.
So you don't believe that he was the last creation before she was sealed, or you believe it's something else?
Well, it could be the same thing. No. What I'm saying is I just think it was a white Zetsu, and she put her will in it.
Okay.
Could that have been the last thing she created? Sure.
Yeah.
Last creation, but it doesn't even have to be her last creation. It just has to be the one that survived. Right?
Yeah. That's true.
So it's just, but just some theories.
Yeah, I don't think that Black Zetsu is literally her child as much as he is like, a product of, when she got sealed, that she took like a last defensive measure and created that creature, whatever he is, and
So basically, she was his plan E, so to speak. Just in case things went wrong.
Right.
Send him out there to fulfill my evil doings, my plans, my setups.
Yeah, I mean, just that Black Zetsu is just a creature that has the desire to bring back Kaguya, and and he pretty much is the mastermind. He planned everything.
Yeah.
But he did it because he's been ordered from the start to do it.
Right.
Let me throw this in here about the mommy issues of Black Zetsu.
Okay.
Cullen Bob 9 wrote, even Sephiroth.
Yeah, that's what he was talking about. Yeah.
Okay, which I had to go look up.
Oh, you didn't know who that was?
No.
Wow.
Final Fantasy? No, I haven't seen it. Is backing away and saying, whoa, dude, take a chill pill.
Yeah, that was one of the greatest freaking characters from the best game ever created.
Right?
Yeah.
I had to look it up. So.
He was upset to bring back his mother. That's why he relates to this manga right now.
Right. Yeah. So that sent me scrambling. I said, okay, I get it now. The story of the ninja is a story that existed in order to revive my mother. Okay. So, proceeding on, and I had to say there is some of this stuff. I realize some of this people are not happy with. I'm not happy with, but some of this stuff I think is pretty cool.
Like in the manga stream version, you have Black Zetsu using we.
Yeah.
In the manga Panda version, he's saying me, my, so that my mother could one day be revived. Right before the sealing, I was born, and then like I said, the manga stream, he's saying we. So.
Okay. So it's like different translations from different.
Yeah. To me, it would make much more sense for him to say my. Unless he's like, like Spider-Man, the alien symbiote or something. So.
That I've gone to another page. That our mother was once sealed by us, own son's hands.
Wow.
So that's what do you mean us? Now that goes to. Well, wait a minute. It's like, wait a minute. Are you saying you're like the other brother? But that doesn't really seem to make any sense at all. So I don't. That's where translation gets kind of. I think that's
and in
wrong.
Manga Panda it says, "My mother was sealed by her sons."
Yeah.
Okay, that's probably that sounds better.
And then when I went to Manga Stream, it's like totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So that's why I was saying the manga stream version might not be the best one this week. But we keep going.
Right. And with that, the Ten Tails became the moon.
Mm.
But on the verge of being sealed away, we were born.
Right.
So that's when he comes around. In order to one day bring about the resurrection of our mother.
Mm.
I like it. You got both halves of the Black Zetsu talking at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay, interesting.
Hey, you know what it is? This whole thing is just weird because maybe it's just me. I just feel like Kaguya's story, was just pushed in there. You know what I mean? It was just pushed into this manga. But now it makes sense now because we're getting, better explanation for why and who is she really. You know what I mean? Only thing I'm confused about is where is the other son? Who is the other son? I mean, we know his name now, but I hope Keish explains that later on.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, I like this part. Let me throw this out real quick, Michael. It says, now I'm on another page. It says, now let us show you. There's no popcorn, but you'll have to stick around and watch the entertainment anyway.
Can I stop you right there? That's so funny you said that because Manga Stream says popcorn and Manga Panda says candies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. That's too funny.
There's none of your favorite fill-in-the-blank movie watching.
Yeah.
So.
Good dialogue.
First off, the Ten Tails. Its true being was made up of not just the sacred tree, it was also made up of the body of the mother.
Mm.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
pretty,
go ahead.
No, I was saying that's interesting because according to what Naruto and Sasuke heard before, everybody thought that that Kaguya subdued the tree.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
But now it's like no. All the while they're actually like she was the tree, right? Like
well, at the bottom it says she was not an incarnation of the sacred tree that was trying to take back the chakra fruit. She was trying to take back chakra in order to disperse among her two sons, her children. It was a mother's will.
So she wasn't actually the tree? It was just her will?
I want to. Do you remember? Okay, I think this. Do you remember in the very beginning when they told us about the Jubi?
Yeah.
Okay. They said it didn't really have a will of its own. It was there. It had no interaction with anybody.
That's why I brought that up.
Yeah, yeah. And it would go through its cycles of whatever it would create fruit or whatever, and that fruit would go do whatever the heck it did, and it left people alone, and it was too big for people to mess with, right?
Because the tree actually didn't have no real emotions. It was living off of other people's emotions, right?
Well, it just was. It was just like a natural tree or something doing its thing. And then Kage came and ate the fruit and did all this stuff, and it looks like she we could say the tree absorbed her in it, or she forced a part of herself into the tree. It looks like either way, and then she was more or less the will of the tree, and then the sons fought her, is what it looks like.
So, are you technically saying that the tree just basically fostered her emotions and her ideology?
Well, she is the emotions. Evidently, she is the emotions and ideology. What's interesting is, remember the story that he told, the sage told, it was the Jubi tried to get its chakra back. In reality, it was her.
Right.
Okay?
Oh, okay.
And it says even Hagoromo doesn't know this.
Yeah.
But it is the truth. Along with all my actions in order to revive Mother. So it says, along with all my actions in order to revive Mother. So
Apparently, it was for their sake, according to the next page. According to the next page, when the Juby came out of the tree and it was looking for chakra and everything, it was apparently for the sake of her children, not for her.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like,
That makes sense.
what?
I do like the attitude that Black Zetsu's got. It says, back then, as Hagoromo lived obliviously knowing nothing, he raised Indra and Ashura and even created that absurd religion of Ninshu.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. Because they've been saying that for a while now. Remember a couple of chapters before that, they were kind of teasing about that fact?
Right?
Or that his Ninshu was like basically a forest. Like why did you do that?
So when Indra lost, that's when Black Zetsu started instigating stuff to try to, I guess, corrupt Indra or whatever.
Right. I thought it was interesting how he said that he even influenced the Uchihas to be the way that they are right now.
Oh, we're getting all into this now. This is just... And it says, after Indra, it says, Indra's descendants, the Uchiha family, became the cast of my story. And then I began to revise and alter that pile of garbage that Hagoromo wrote.
That's messed up.
You can, and of course, now Satsuki, he's got the sweat beating down, right? Because he's like, oh, I've read the secret knowledge. And he's like, you can't mean. And then we get, yes, the stone monument that Hagoromo left behind, I rewrote it, along with how the Mugen Tsukuyomi would be able to save the Uchiha. And with just that, everything played out wonderfully for me. By you and your fellow Uchiha, that is.
All right, can I say something to that effect?
Oh, do it, yeah.
I just find it funny how the Uchihas are supposed to be like this genius clan, but in the midst of their whole existence, they've been duped like 1,000 times, manipulated like 1,000 times, and I'm like wondering how does that happen when you're like the most smartest clan, gifted clan in the world, and didn't see that all this whole thing was a trap.
So we get this exactly. So we get this knowledge that's hidden, and you have to have high level eye techniques to even read the whole thing. You can only read pieces depending on how high level your eye technique is, right? So it's this crazy ancient knowledge that's written in there to understand. I think it was Sawyer Seven Mage, and he says, and in the end, it was just like Wikipedia. Anybody could come up and change it.
yeah, he did say that.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, he was.
So Black Zetsu just went up to Wikipedia and said, well, okay, I'll just, make some changes.
Yeah, you know another thing he said too? He said, anybody that marries a Uchiha, you better get a restraining order.
Oh, well.
Yeah, that was too funny. I said Sawyer images are funny.
Yeah, they are rough on the ladies, there's no doubt.
It's amazing because you blame Toby Rama for, enslaving Uchiha, but way before Toby Rama did, they were already slaves.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like, how could you be the most gifted? And these guys were geniuses. Come on, Itachi graduated at an Anbu at such a very young age. They're very gifted. The whole Manu Uchiha is talented. These guys are really super smart, but they've been manipulated like 100 times already.
I mean, there's really no way to know that stone tablet was altered. I mean, nobody even knows where it came from, I'm sure, within the entire clan,
Yeah.
So as long as, now get a load of this, so as long as they don't do Infinite Tsukuyomi, Kaguya can't come back.
Wow.
Right.
Okay? So as long as they don't do that, and then the Uchiha, all of a sudden, the salvation of your clan is to do the Infinite Tsukuyomi. It's like, oh boy. Here we go. And then the problem is none of them can get the Rinnegan going. So he's like, each time they try and they fail to get the Rinnegan, right? But then he saw Madara and he says, I was convinced this guy could do it. He was capable.
But if that's so true, then why did he implant it inside Nagato? Like that's what, like, a lot of stuff is kind of like weird to me because it's like this guy was supposed to be the originator of the Renegon.
He awakened it,
Right.
so, and then he implanted it somehow. Somebody implanted it. He
Well,
had somebody
he
do
did.
that. Yeah.
He said he did it.
Okay, he
He
did.
said he implanted the eyes into Nagato, right? But if he could use it, why didn't he use it himself?
Well, the plan was that somebody would revive him with it.
Actually, I have a theory on that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The theory is that, you know how Madara took a bite out of Hashirama in the battle and took
Yeah.
and then regurgitated it later?
Right. I know where you're getting at.
That means Madara actually planned to die to Hashirama
Yeah.
so that he could revive himself and then have time to work on getting the Rinnegan. But after getting the Rinnegan, Madara got old. That's why he had to give the Rinnegan to Nagato, because Nagato wouldn't get old unless, you know, we see he gets old eventually by using all those jutsus. But initially, Nagato wouldn't have been old. He would have just been, you know, young with the Rinnegan, and Madara in that state, he wasn't good enough to do anything with it. So he looked for an apprentice like Obito, and had set up and tried to set up a whole plan where he would get revived and he would be able to use the Rinnegan's power, because the way he couldn't use it.
Which we're going to definitely get into this in a moment. I'm on page 16.
Okay.
Now we're getting to he's dead. Okay, this gets into a lot of problem issues here. Okay. To a ninja, Madara's corpse would have been the same as a mountain of treasure. To open the gateway to the study of the Sharingan's mysteries, I first had to stop the corpse from being disposed of. So now Black Zetsu's saying that he was interfering with what was going on here. I hid Madara deep within the mountains of Konoha. But Madara was no fool. So now Black Zetsu had to interfere. According to the one I'm reading here. Do you anything in a different translation there?
So the manga panda translation, it says that Tobi Rama hit Black Zetsu, but the manga string seems to make much more sense in this case.
Yeah. And that was what I read on my first thing before this, was that it was Tobi Rama. So yeah.
Yo, Steve, do me a favor. Go back to say that last part that you were reading off. I mean, your thoughts on the whole situation. You just said something real important. Go back and read that, what you was just reading.
To a ninja, Madara's corpse would have been the same as a mountain of treasure. To open the gateway to studying the Sharingan's mysteries, I first had to stop the corpse from being disposed of. I hid Madara deep within the mountains of Konoha.
Mm-hmm.
But Madara was no fool.
Stop right there. Now you see what I said to you earlier, how this guy was smart enough to know that, but didn't know nothing else. That this was, like something wasn't right.
But if you actually look, it looks like Black Zetsu went inside of Madara, like pretty much when Madara was in the coffin. There's no way Madara would have even known about Kaguya or anything, No,
my thing is though, at first they made it seem like Mandra knew everything. Am I correct, Steve? At one point they were making him like the all-seeing, the all-knowing.
Yeah, he foresaw the whole thing.
He saw everything. So why wouldn't he not see all that going on? He just got finished. Even Black Zetsu just got finished saying, but Madara was no fool. This guy always think 10 times ahead. Most of the Uchihas think like that. So how did they get duped the way that they did? That's my point that I'm making.
It's kind of tough. And then also, because of everything was just said there, you would think if the body would have disappeared, that there would have been no stone left unturned to find his body, right?
That's what ain't, don't make sense.
The first, the second, I mean, everybody would have been like, well, who ran off with Madara's body? And we don't want to see Madara coming back, right?
Exactly.
Everything would be thrown, all resources to find. This would have been like a whole deal. Okay, and then we get to the other fun stuff. So that to me is some issues that kind of would need to be clarified. Yeah. It says the Mangekyo Sharingan can acquire and learn techniques into the eye outside of time.
Mm-hmm.
So, Michael, you were talking about what's the trigger, right, in your comments.
Yeah.
Okay, which is kind of big, right?
Because Itachi had a trigger. If Sasuke saw Madara's face, the Sharingan would activate. And it makes sense because Sasuke, number one, was alive, so
Mm-hmm.
chakra was being sent to the eye, and Itachi was part of Itachi's jutsu, and it would activate. But how in the world can the eye just activate like an alarm clock, by itself after the body is dead? You're talking about no chakra in the body.
Yeah, that's true. Wow.
You
Good
know what
point,
I'm saying?
Mike.
So I don't like that at all. That's one
Yeah.
thing I don't like about the chapter.
I
Yeah.
want to say something here. I like a lot the idea of it being Izanagi after he's dead, but only if Kishimoto explains to us what the trigger was. They say, here's some jitsu or something that he had performed, and when that thing ceased to exist, or it didn't even have to be a complicated thing.
But I thought when they showed that filler of when Itachi fought Kabuto with Sasuke, that they said the Izanami, right? Remember how they showed that episode following after that? It was called the Uchiha something. It was about their past, about the original Uchihas, how they used Izanami.
Yeah.
And they showed that the eye could activate it by setting the trap before it actually happens. Remember when she threw the sword down on the ground?
Well, you're right, but we know from the Sasuke and Obito Toby thing. Remember when that went out the
Yeah.
Amaterasu?
Okay.
So we got an example. We know it can happen, but just like
Right.
Michael said, there has to be a trigger. I mean, any kind of trigger to be like, if it's a full moon, it activates something. Had to be, and it had to trigger. It has to trigger when he's not around. People are going to go, oh, you just came back, and now we're going to kill you again, or throw you in jail, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it had to be that. Plus, why? What did Madara? I mean, Madara knew all this was going to happen and planned it out. Then why? How come Black Zetsu had to jump in, and otherwise it wouldn't have worked? I don't know. I don't understand that myself.
Just like I said, a better explanation needs it because we were told one thing and then now it's something totally different.
And then here's the other thing that comes in. Why wasn't he revived? I mean, if you're going to revive yourself, why wasn't he revived whole?
Yeah, well, he said Nagato was supposed to have did that. Remember they showed the episode of that. Remember they said that Nagato was supposed to have wakened Mandra, but he chose not to?
Yeah, but no, I'm talking about the original Izanagi here after Hashirama kills him.
Oh, okay.
Before he's even come back.
Right, as an Edo Tensei and then back to revive. Okay, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, somebody even said, I don't remember who said this, but they said, Michael, it might have been you, I don't remember for sure. They said the whole thing, Obito can't die, but Madara keeps dying and coming back.
That's kind of funny. I didn't say that, but it's pretty funny.
That's why I had to laugh. It's not what he said, it's how he said it.
It's true. It's because it's true. It's freaking hilarious. It's like,
it is. Sometimes the truth is funny.
Oh my God. So,
he only came back. Well, he came back twice, I guess. He came back.
Yeah, he did. Because technically, when he came back, he was an Edo Tensei, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on. He came back as an old man once. He came back as an Edo.
He came back
for real.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like you're going all the way back. Yeah.
Yeah, you can. If you go all the way back, it's 3.
Yeah, okay.
But it's at least 2. But this guy isn't playing around. If you think, but then again, I mean, just certain things can't happen. You can't seal away Ocharu because he's got like chakra everywhere. Okay, so you can't do that. You can't even kill Obito to begin with. So.
Yeah, because he keeps on coming back. He got more than 9 lives.
He's laughing at Madara. He's like, "You're an amateur. You die. I never die."
I've been trying to die.
I'm a pro, dude. I'm a pro.
It never worked.
Look, I can be unconscious falling into lava. Do I die?
It's just so funny too how Kishi was like, "All right, let's get Obito, as if like to rub it in the fan's face. Yep, I'm keeping him alive.
Well, Madara, I like your new look. You look like a good-looking woman now. I'm still alive. I'm hanging over here unconscious.
Yeah, I was just about
Very
to
much
say
alive.
that. Like he's been hanging for a minute.
And he's like, yeah, since I went, went sage mode, I've actually, my body's repaired, I'm fixed up, I'm looking good. So that's Obito.
I want to point out some translation differences here. In Manga Panda, it says it's the same as when Itachi left Amaterasu in your eye. Okay, Madara had put Izanagi into his right eye. And then in the manga stream version, it says Madara taught his right eye Izanagi, and it says just like when Itachi taught you Amaterasu outside of time. So the two versions here are very different.
Right.
So I think it makes much more sense where it says Madara put Izanagi into his right eye, like when.
Talking about so you think stream is better?
No, the Manga Panda version I think is better in this situation for this page.
Okay.
Because it says Madara had put Izanagi into his right eye. Because how do you teach yourself something you don't know?
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? And then also, Itachi's Amaterasu wasn't used outside of time.
Damn sure wasn't. Yeah, I ain't never seen that.
Yeah, so like Itachi put Amaterasu in Sasuke's eye, clearly. So
yeah,
the manga stream version loses the point for that one.
Yeah. All right, Steve.
All right, well, he says he sacrificed his right eye because that's why he's sitting there with just one eye when he's with Obito, I guess. But somehow he already had his other eyes on ice somewhere. But anyway, this something is answered here. It says, and replaced his corpse with a Kage-Bunshin as a fake. So, okay, so he had a fake clone, and somehow the pros didn't go through it. So see, I'm already kind of shaky on some of this.
Yeah, now I'm thinking about it. Why would Madara replace his body if Black Zetsu put him there?
That's what I'm saying. A lot of stuff just doesn't add up. That's my whole point. And then he goes on saying that he wasn't a fool. But I'm just like...
So maybe the Manga Panda version was right, and Tobi Rama put him there, and Black Zetsu found him?
Yeah.
There's just no way to know without being a translator.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, now we get to the regurgitating the flesh.
Yeah, that's a little
that he had
gross.
bitten off, swallowed from.
Yeah, that was a Mike Tyson flashback for me. I swear to God, when I first heard that, that's the first thing that came to my mind was Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield, and we all know how that turned out. Oh God, that's disgusting. That is so.
That over his wounds. Well, see, that's the thing. I mean, if he isn't Nagini himself, he would have made it put himself in the prime. I mean, why would you be half alive? That part's not understanding. But then again, I don't know. And then the whole wounds thing, that was
what do you
weird twist.
What do you mean by
what he did is Nagi, right? He brought himself back.
Right. He basically brought himself back at the cost of his eye. He shouldn't be.
Right, but why didn't he? Why wasn't his body whole, minus the eye that he lost?
Remember, they couldn't find his body. Remember all them times they couldn't find Madra's original body. Remember that?
Yeah, but I'm saying if you do Izanagi, if you go to the dream and you redo reality, why would he have a garbage body? I mean, Danzo seemed to know how to. He kept breaking him. He'd get Sasuke, kill him. He'd go, "Well, I'm coming back." He didn't come back all banged up. He came back home.
Are you saying that you think his throwing up is because his body was dead? Is that what you're saying?
No. I'm not talking about the throwing up. I'm saying I simply don't understand why, if he did Izanagi, his body wasn't whole. Why he would still be beat up.
Right.
Why he would just be alive as opposed to being whole, minus the eye.
So you're basically saying why he has any injuries at all?
Why does he have any injuries at all? Like I say, Danzo didn't. Are we going to say Danzo's a bigger genius than Madara? Of course.
Yeah, but I just remember there was a conflicting story in chapters ago saying how, remember when he asked Obito or somebody, I remember they was on top of the mountain, he said, just when he was first fighting Naruto, he said, why didn't you put me back in my original body? He said, because we couldn't find your body.
Wait,
They didn't find, but they never found his body. If you ever think about that afterwards, I don't even know how he got his original body back. They never showed that.
well, the Rene Tensei makes you get your body back, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly,
We're getting bogged down into something.
but I'll say
What's your style?
it makes sense to me about Izanami. It would make sense, or is it Izanagi? You know, the reality altering Sharingan.
But either way,
It would make sense if the reason why Madara looks all beat up is because it has like a specific amount of time that it can't reverse. So like it reversed his death, but it didn't reverse the fight with Hashirama, and that would explain why he would still have all those injuries.
So you're saying he didn't totally change time?
No,
He just changed what he could.
it basically, as far as the way I understand it, Izanagi negates one thing. It rewrites one thing. It's not all powerful. You can't just rewrite the last week or the last month or anything like that. So I mean, probably the moment that Hashirama killed him was what was rewritten, so that for him specifically, his body didn't get killed. And so, but before that, he went through a whole battle with Hashirama, which is probably why he has all these injuries.
well, we've seen two cases. We've seen no matter what Sasuke did to him, he brought himself back, and we saw the time with Obito and Conan, right?
Right.
And she blew the heck out of this guy.
Yeah.
And he didn't come back, any more charred than he was before. So I don't know. What you're saying it could be true, but it doesn't seem to hold up with the two examples.
I'm just getting that you're saying that it
No, I'm
goes
saying
back
how-
to the last time you left off at.
Exactly. Look, how many explosions do you think happened to Obito? Like how much time? Like only a couple of seconds. All those explosions within a couple of seconds. So maybe Izanami has like a time limit, or Izanagi a time limit, like 1 minute, 2 minutes, whatever it might be. But basically, Obito can't come back charred. If an explosion kills him, he'll come back to before the explosion hits him. So that's pretty much how it works. I think it's pretty simple.
You're saying that there's a time limit. You're saying, but the thing is what? Okay, let me. You're saying that he was banged up before he got killed.
Right.
That's what you're saying. That's what you're saying.
Exactly. That's why Madara looks like he's got all those wounds.
Okay. Well, Kishimoto hasn't said that anywhere.
No, but I kind of understand what Mike is saying.
Oh, I understand what he's saying.
Yeah, it's basically whatever time you left off at and how you was before you died, I guess. I guess that's what the time period it goes back to. Is that what you're saying, Mike?
So,
have any of you...
no. I think I have it. So if Danzo would have had his arm cut off, but he wasn't killed, and he kept fighting Sasuke, and then Sasuke would have killed him, then when he got brought back, he still wouldn't have his arm.
State.
He would still have no arm, exactly.
Right, he'll be in that state. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's like a save state. You ever play a video game and you press save state, and then you press F4 to load?
Yeah.
That's pretty much exactly what it is. The moment you use the jutsu, you're saved in that one spot before you died, and then and then you just like pop right back there. Or I guess, not exactly in that way, because technically you never die in the first place, right? But if you had died, you would appear before you died, right the second, before that would happen. Pretty much. That's how it makes sense to me. And, there could be like a time limit on it too. Like you can only use it, like, the jutsu only recovers like what's been, within the past 20 seconds or a minute or whatever. But I mean, it makes much more sense to me that, like,
Oh, so you saying, Mike, are you saying it's basically like the Kumi, how Kakashi was trying to time to see what was the right time to attack Obito when they first fought? And he was trying to figure out, like, how to damage him with Naruto's Rasengan? Remember when they were timing it? And it was only a certain open that you could actually attack somebody that knows Kumi?
Right, right. No, I don't think there's any vulnerability to Izanagi at all because it's gonna always activate perfectly and do what it does. I'm just saying there might be a time limit in terms of like what can be restored.
Okay.
Like a minute's gone. Like you can only restore up to a minute of like your actual death.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It could be that, or it could not be. I'm just speculating.
No,
Yeah,
I like what you're saying. I just wish Kishimoto would come out and say something along what you said. I like your explanation. You might want to send him a PM or something. But I mean that's the problem. It's even like what I'm saying with what's the trigger that brought him back to begin with. I'm happy with any of this, but it's clear that Kishimoto is simply not giving us enough.
Right.
Okay. So.
No Fugashi, that's for sure.
And let's see.
There's a Hunter plug right there.
Oh yeah. It's an awesome deal, but I don't want to. I don't want to get into a. Naruto's awesome. It's but there are some issues, but I hear you also. Okay. And let's see.
So we were at he regurgitated the flesh that he'd bitten.
Yeah. Yeah, we're an accidental byproduct of this process had been created at the time, the White Zetsu, what really happened. This is what I like. See, this is good. What he does right here. What really happened was after everyone had been under the spell of the infinite Tsukiyomi, I quietly made my way out of the demonic statue. All of the creation is manifestations from two opposing forces, just as written on the stone monument. Madara turned his tenacity toward Hashirama and his strength. But, it doesn't say it here, but anyway, it says that somewhere, I guess the next page, that the White Zetsus were really from the original Tsukiyomi. So that's, which is kind of what I was saying before, which was what I was saying before, but let me actually get the reading of it. I thought I was going to say it right there.
It's strange because both versions imply that because of Hashirama's flesh that the White Zetsu were created. But the manga stream version says that implies that they were also people that were under the spell of Infinite Tsukiyomi in the statue. So does that mean that people that were under Infinite Tsukiyomi were healed with Kaguya?
Like the earlier time or times that the Infinite Tsukiyomi happened and people were turned into Zetsus, they were evidently he was able to access them. And that's what I thought. That's the only thing that made sense because then it could be like Hashirama can make them, but only during an infinite suit. So that way they were already created. So he just popped them up, and Madara was fooled by quite a bit though. So
that's what I said. It's whatever.
Yeah.
I have a problem with that. That's all I'm saying. I have a huge problem with that.
I don't blame you.
You know what I mean? Like, you're told one thing, and then you come to find out, I mean, I understand plot holes. I understand the whole purpose of it, but some things need to be explained a little better.
And then I pretended as though I was born from Madara. Black Zetsu is just like, you guys are all idiots.
Yeah, that's what it makes it seem like. Like, once again, Kishimoto has a way of doing this, building characters up to make you believe one thing.
Black Zetsu's like, I've played all of you and I've punked all of you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And I recorded it and put it on YouTube.
Yeah, imagine if he would have said that, I would have fell out.
It's funny too because of Black Zetsu, that's the reason why Madara is so obsessed with Hashirama. Because it says that just as what was written on the stone monument, all of creation is manifested from two opposing forces, and then the other version says two opposing things can create all things when working together. So basically, the reason Madara was so close with Hashirama was because he was making himself that way so he could fulfill what was on the monument. It's interesting. I didn't notice that when I first read the chapter.
And then I intentionally showed Madara's corpse to Kabuto, who I knew would use it to try and increase his power. And furthermore, I manipulated Obito into cooperating with my plan and used him to deal with Madara's corpse. And this entire war played out perfectly according to my design, ultimately ending in the awakening of the infinite Tsukiyomi. And the enormous amount of chakra collected from all the humans under its spell, I was able to revive Mother.
You sound like my favorite video game, Final Fantasy, Mother.
Oh, and then, yeah, but she's not a happy mother.
No, not at all.
I hate you, Agarumo and Hamaru. You both belong to me.
I think she's bipolar. Like, how do you go from crying to, before crying and saying nice things, and then you go to crying and then you say you hate them? I don't get that.
She's still crying while she says she hates them.
Yeah, that's what's bipolar. She's got a problem.
My role is finished. Now I shall return to the almighty Mother Goddess. Of all things, of all people.
So is that a hint that we won't be seeing him anymore?
I really don't. I don't know. It sounds like he's like about to just.
Yeah, like doesn't that sound like an exit?
He's about to fuse back into her.
The Manga Panda version says, "My role is over. We must go back to our mother, the Almighty God." So it kind of makes more sense in that he's saying that, Naruto, you and Sasuke, like, we're all Kaguya's children, so we should go back to her, and that kind of makes more sense as opposed to him just leaving the fight by himself, right?
Yeah.
If he's leaving by himself, then he would leave Naruto and Sasuke, leave Kaguya to deal with them by himself.
Yeah, probably.
But it makes more sense like he's trying to absorb them into Kaguya. That's what made more sense to me.
Right.
Yeah. Well, he's trying to either absorb them into her, or, well, at least the chakra. But then you get the whole thing about, Naruto's like, my mother is happy when her children gain their independence and leave. And then I really didn't care for okay, well, I like part of it. Your rebellious phase has lasted quite a while, Your mother is the creator of chakra. No matter what you kids try to do, it's all useless. And Sasuke's, we need to create an opening to use the Sula Jitsu, Naruto. Yeah, I've got another. We've got no other choice now. We've got to do that Jitsu. Okay, and then all of a sudden, okay, so we go through there, and evidently they still have tons of chakra. Mm-hmm. So this was clearly a device to tell us stuff. Okay, this whole chapter, and then they just break free at the end.
Naruto breaks free.
Yeah, only Naruto does.
Yeah.
He takes it off of Sasuke.
Yeah, and then I'm like, okay, well, all right, okay.
Can I say something about that? I feel a Dragon Ball Z moment coming real soon.
we need.
You know what I'm saying, right, Mike? Mike, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I don't know.
Fusing.
Fusion.
Yep, you know that's gonna happen because Kishimoto's a huge fan of the guy that wrote Dragon Ball Z. That was his favorite anime. So I'm telling you, I feel it coming on.
I remember a long time ago you talking about that.
Yeah, Akira Toriyama is a huge legend in the manga industry.
Mm-hmm.
All the three, Oda, Kubo, Kishi, they all love his work and they all pay homage to him. He did it with Naruto's orange clothes.
That's right. That's right. Exactly.
And so
I feel it coming on again. That's all I'm saying. I feel the Dragon Ball Z moment about to happen real soon.
That'd be hilarious if you actually fused with Sasuke.
Well, now that you just segued us into predictions. So predictions. You already started, but predictions.
Well, the one we just talked about, I really believe that's going to happen. But I also believe, in my heart to heart, and Steve, I know you're going to agree with this, I still believe that Orochimaru is the true last villain.
I hope so.
Listen,
gosh, I hope so.
I really believe that because I don't see how somebody as evil as this guy just change out of nowhere. You can't be evil for all those many years and then turn around and say, I want to be good.
Wait a second. You can't see how Orochimaru, but what about when Madara does it? When Madara changes like that out of nowhere, are you still not gonna be shocked?
Nah, it's because Orochimaru has always given off that persona like he's the worst villain that Leaf Village has ever seen.
Yeah, but he did it because of his parents. He didn't have.
Right. I understand that, but do you really believe? What about all the experiments?
Well, Orochimaru's not. I don't know how human Orochimaru really is.
Yeah, that's another thing too. You know what I mean? This guy's probably not even himself. We don't know what the heck he is.
Remember his whole thing was to fuse into the big giant snake and all this. This I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what part of humanity he's got left.
All I'm telling you right now, I don't trust Orochimaru. I still think he's going to be the final villain. I really believe that in my heart.
I hope, with all my hope, that you're right, because that would be. Well, of course, you know what else I want. I want to see him possess Sasuke. I just really want to see this.
Oh yeah, I want him to take over Sasuke's body.
There are so many things that go against that. I mean, the fact that he's under Genjutsu, like the strongest Genjutsu in existence, and never even overcome Itachi's Genjutsu.
Right.
He has like a natural weakness for Genjutsu, for Orochimaru.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's in the Infinite Tsukiyomi right now. And then he could have used the 4 Hokages to do things evil, and he let them do whatever they want. He talks about following Sasuke's will, seeing where his wind will lead him. Like Orochimaru's giving off the vibe of like the older generation watching the new. Like he's just taking a wait and see approach. And
so you don't think there's no ulterior motive?
Well, I don't. And
what you're really saying is you don't think he can.
Well, I don't think he can, but I also, I don't. Well, yeah, I mean Sasuke's stronger than him too, so but I don't think that Orochimaru wants to anymore. I think he's focused his attention from gaining power to basically just taking it all in, studying and watching and learning, because that's why he told Hashirama that he just wants to see what Sasuke is doing, basically. And it kind of fits with Orochimaru because Orochimaru, he always said to Jiraiya, what did he always say to Jiraiya? Like, that's your perspective that I'm evil. I'm just trying to get all the jutsu. I'm trying to, improve myself, evolve.
So you're saying basically that Orochimaru's focus is not on that no more. He's basically want to be a discoverer for the rest of his life and guy that experiments and gets.
I say the rest of his life, but right now he's in the transitional phase where he got beat a couple of times. It's going nowhere, so now he's taking a wait and see approach, and now he's gonna look at Sasuke. He's like studying Sasuke. He's like a scientist. He studies things, and now he's like Sasuke is who he's observing right now.
What do you think, Steve?
Oh, one thing I definitely don't think. Well, you know what I'm going to say. I don't think he's a good guy. I don't think there's that much humanity through all the changes this guy's done. Anyhow, he's smart. He likes to work through other people. He's always done that. And the next thing is his ability to do it. This guy plans things out. I mean, look. Remember, he wanted Kabuto to be because of his healing abilities. He wanted Kabuto. Look at the links in time he was willing to spend in order to get Kabuto completely mind screwed up to get what he wanted. And he's stalking Sasuke right now.
That's right.
He's waiting until he's weak.
Yep.
He can put his stuff down. This guy, I mean, it's like even just like what happened with bringing back. This guy knows stuff. Orochimaru knows stuff.
He knows too much.
That mask right there. We've got the Zetsus up. He knows too much.
The thing is, though, he kind of just serves now as a plot device. Like Kishi can use him to explain anything. Like if Kishi said, "Oh, I want to use a mask to get them out of the Death God seal. How do I do that?" Oh, of course, Orochimaru. He knows everything. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't really lend credence to the idea that Orochimaru has got these alternate agenda to defeat Kaguya or whatever. I mean, it doesn't even.
Sure. Just because his goal through the entire manga has been to possess Sasuke, and that he's been evil. Now he's good. and he doesn't want to possess Sasuke.
That doesn't. It doesn't make sense to me.
He hasn't achieved his goals yet, Michael.
Yeah,
Anyway,
he hasn't.
his goals.
He hasn't.
Then that snake creature will come out and go, I've been manipulating the whole...
Yeah, you a fool. That's a good one, though.
I've got the formula, man. I'm telling you. I've been for weeks now. I've got the formula.
Black Zetsu was bitten by a snake, and he's been following Orochimaru's instructions the whole time.
Yeah. You'll find that little snake comes up, and I've been working you guys like puppets.
See, the thing about Orochimaru that I like about him, he will say anything and do anything until his conquest is solved. Even if that means playing up to Sasuke right now, I really believe one day he's just going to turn around and just take his body and say, I got you. Because he's been starving for that Uchiha power since the series started.
Yeah, the Uchiha power is overrated now. I mean, now...
No. I know that, but to Orochimaru, believe it or not, if you follow the series as long as I have, you've seen this man go out his way to get that Uchiha power. Even when he joined the Akashis and that day he lost to Itachi, that's what really pissed him off. Because he said, I'm sick of them. And the only reason why they can do what they do is because of those eyes. He's been dying to get a Sharingan. This has been his whole scam, him and Danzo, having all the Sharingans on his eye. Orochimaru wants the ultimate Uchiha power. And I truly believe this guy, at the end of the day, is going to be the last true villain. And I hope I'm right. I really do.
All right, well, I don't think that. I think that Kishi has moved on with Orochimaru. Jiraiya is dead. Tsunade is, well, I guess she's not dead, but I mean, it just feels like Orochimaru is changed as a character, and that Kishi's just using him now to progress the plot if he needs him. That's how I see it.
Okay, I respect it.
And the thing is what will probably happen is none of these things. It'll be
because
it'll be
he'll
some
do a
completely
360.
different. Oh yeah, it'll be some completely different stuff.
Yeah, it'd be like the worm that was inside his Sonata, or the snail was responsible for everything. Because I'm just waiting for the next twist. Yes, something.
It's still the Death God. Maybe the Death God is behind Kaguya. You never know.
Yo, but let me tell you something. That's something else that I wanted to really bring up, and that's a good point you brought up, Mike. The Death Reaper, I truly believe that that's the brother.
Yeah.
That's
what
makes
a lot of sense. Yeah.
I believe that. I really believe that that's the brother. Like, he had to sacrifice himself.
Well, that makes sense. It makes sense that he would be the progenitor of, the clan that Naruto's mother's from.
Oh, you mean the Uzumakis?
Yeah, the Uzumakis. I think that it all fits,
Yeah, but the son had a Byakugan in his eye.
Yeah.
Well,
he's definitely a Hyuga.
Yeah,
it could have been. But look, the Senju and Uchiha were from one brother.
Yeah,
right.
but
the Uzumaki and the Hyuga clan from the other.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
It makes sense, definitely.
Yeah.
I think it makes
plausible. I mean, who knows? But I mean.
Yeah, well, when we're talking about Mr. Kishimoto here, anything goes.
He's yeah. he's a genius, but it's just how many times that somebody coming here's the third time he saying this but he's awesome. That's what is upsetting about it. It's just like, okay, I mean, really the thing is if he would have just spent a little more time, some of the ideas that came up, like Michael, stuff you were talking about, if he just explained it a little bit better, it would have made this chapter so much better, right?
Yeah.
I don't care if he wants to redo everything that's happened from the beginning. If he at least comes out and says, okay, here it is, 1 through 10, what you need to know, and it's changed, there was some misunderstanding, fine, okay, then but don't come out with 3 and 7 and 8 missing.
Well, there's a lot of inconsistency when it comes to Kishimoto.
Right.
It's like how he displays chapters and stuff he puts in because, to be honest with you, like I think he concentrated on too many characters
Yes.
at one time.
Yes.
You know what I mean? This is the only anime I ever seen in my whole entire life that got these many characters and we all know them.
Yeah, so there's an army instead of just having like a core. It's really, I mean, core of what, 4 or 5 or 3 or.
There's so many clans. We learned about so many clans, so many sister clans, mother clans. We know every evil dude that's in the village, including the real old ones. We even know the elders that ran the freaking village. You know what I mean? Like, we know it all. We know everybody in the sand village. We've been exposed to so much at one time. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he just went. He did. Look, Kishimoto's a genius, but he made some fundamental errors. Like too many characters, because no human being can fill in for that many, and then keeps introducing more. Right?
Yeah, yeah, that's another thing that trips me out.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a problem. And then, as he said, which he's admitted, is that he wished he would have had things planned out more before he, got started.
No,
So.
I tell you one big gripe I have of the show, of the whole entire series, is that I don't like the way he never explained the family clan members of Naruto's ancestry. You know what I mean? Like, we know more about the Uchihas than we know about the Uzumakis. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that to me doesn't make sense because Naruto's the main character of the show. So if it's anybody we should have got more backstory about as far as his clan and and more in depth, it should have been Naruto. But instead we got more about Sasuke's clan than we got about anybody's.
Well, and see, this is what kind of another thing that gets me is if he started explaining, if he would have taken his time and explained stuff, then I don't know what the rush was. I think a lot of us would have been patient. I think maybe I'm completely wrong. If he would have went off in certain areas and just explained them and said, you know what, we're gonna do an arc that explains where this came from or this clan or whatever. I think we could have been patient for that as long as it'd been an interesting ride.
Well, I think it would have been more interesting if it was based on the actual main character. We should know more about the main character.
Yeah, there was a moment where we learned Naruto was part of the Uzumaki clan. Like, the minute we learned, readers, that there's an Uzumaki clan, there should have been a little, thing in the manga where Naruto goes and meets someone from the Uzumaki clan, learns about his heritage, finds out, if the Uzumaki have particular jutsu abilities and if he can use them and whatnot. And that would be great. That's all you need to do. You just need to, don't just mention something and then put it on the shelf. Like put it away and never go back to it again. That's terrible. It makes no sense.
Well, it's just like to this day, people still don't know that the Whirlpool family was Whirlpool, country was Uzumaki's country.
Yeah.
But the average person doesn't know that, though. Believe that or not, a lot of people really don't know about that.
And like with the we saw the Senju and the Uchiha, join forces and create Konoha. Where was the Uzumaki? That, according to what Kishi told us, the Konoha symbol, the symbol of Konoha, is part Uzumaki.
Yeah, it's the Uzumaki symbol, yeah.
Yeah, they put it on the flank jackets.
Right, so the circle is the Uzumaki symbol, but during the creation of Konoha, the Uzumaki weren't there? What are you doing, Kishi? Where's the Uzumaki? Like, you can't just say that there's such a big part of the village's history and then not include them because you don't know what you're doing. You gotta, literally think of some way to integrate them into the story.
Well, he's simply, I mean, if you don't mind me referring to you, Michael, but you got a degree in literature or English or writing or something, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm about to graduate in bachelor's English writing.
All right, well, congratulate. I appreciate it. But then the only reason I bring this up is I'm sure that you've maybe started a writing project that seemed doable, and then you get into it and find out the scope of it's too big.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the only reason I brought this up, and this is why. But he's done this over and over,
Yep.
right? And it's, I mean, just a rule. It's like, look, if you want to bring a new character in, you have to explain, then fix one of the characters you have first, right? With an explanation of what's going on with them. But you can see, Kishimoto is a genius, but you just can't break fundamental rules without creating problems.
Right.
Right? And he keeps doing it. So
Like he's making creative ideas, but he forgets about what he already established, so he just goes with it.
Well, that, and then there's the mystery of why things are so more disorganized after the time skip than before. I hate to bring this up, but people always do consistently, but it is true. Why did it seem like everything was on some kind of a track, and then the time skip hits and everything's like disorganized? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, well, the only body that really knows that is Keish. And just like I said, I like his work. I like the stuff that he does, but at the end of the day, it's just certain things that really egg me, and that always bothered me from day one. We should have knew more about Naruto's family, not just some filler arc that he had about Kushina and how she was kidnapped by the Cloud because she had this special chakra. Like, why did they get more in depth in her? Who the hell are her parents?
It was really stupid. What was really stupid was the minute Naruto finds out his dad is Minato, everybody knows he's Minato. Like, what the hell? Tsunade, Kakashi, Jiraiya, Orochimaru, like, all these people, when they saw Naruto, they could have said, oh, like, I knew your father, you know, Minato. Like, why wouldn't they say that?
Especially after he already made this guy like a giant hero. Like, who doesn't know a hero? Everybody knows a
But,
hero.
like, you don't even have to say it was the fourth Hokage. You could have just said, oh, yeah, your dad was Minato. I knew him, and, you know, or whatever. Just, you know, or not even talking about Orochimaru, but just anybody like Tsunade, you know, Jiraiya, like, you remind me so much of Minato. Like, just something. I mean, that we know that, that they remember Minato, because now after Naruto finds out the truth, it's just like so weird when everybody just casually mentions Minato. Like, you know?
But you know what's so hilarious? It's like when Sasuke seen Minato, you know, to this day he still doesn't know. Well, Kishi never told us that Sasuke knew that Naruto's father was the fourth Hokage.
Right. Yeah.
You know, that's like how is that not possible when this guy is supposed to be this guy's rival and best friend? Like, I just don't get how you didn't incorporate all that into knowing a little bit more about Naruto.
Right. I mean, just like little obvious things like that, like to have Sasuke be like, Naruto, you're the fourth Hokage's son. Like,
Exactly, like he was shocked. Like, no emotion, no nothing.
yeah. Those are the little things we fans want to see, and he forgets those little things. It's like, oh, you know.
It feels like there's some need for him to get done with this series, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe he's tired of it.
It's been going for 10 years, so.
Yo, it's been going on a long time. You know, the manga's been out since 1999.
Yeah.
You know, that's a long time, man. This is 2014. Come on. Most series would have been ended a long time ago, including the anime. You know, this guy's, what were we in 600 and something?
Yeah, honestly, I chalk it up to Kishi just getting exhausted and losing track of everything. That's what I chalk it up to.
I hope I've been waiting to let everybody vent because it's legitimate, and just like everybody said, we love the series. There are problems though. It isn't just there's greatness in this series. A lot of great characters, too many, but it's just there are problems, so you got to bring them up. All right, if anybody wants to talk a little bit more about this chapter, that's fine. But I kind of would prefer to go ahead and get to the anime, which I think people would prefer.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead.
All right, Michael, is there anything you want to say real quick, or?
Predictions?
Well, anything on the chapter, because then we'll move on to the anime.
Right. No, I'll just give my predictions. I think that next chapter, Naruto and Sasuke will try to do some fighting to distract Kaguya. We'll see the Naruto Kage Bunshin do something with Obito and Kakashi. and we'll probably also get some more dialogue from Black Zetsu. That's the best predictions I can come up with right now.
I have to say, and I hope everybody does agree, Black Zetsu's attitude is entertaining as heck, man. Dude is.
I thought Sugetsu was funny until I heard Black Zetsu. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I like Sugetsu too.
Oh,
All right, we're good. We're good. Yeah, go ahead.
He's going to do something too. I don't know if it's going to be next chapter, but sooner or later, because we know that the second Hokage, the first Hokage, and Minato, they're all like, heading towards Naruto. So sooner or later, those guys are going to arrive and something's going to happen. They're going to help Naruto some way. And we'll see what happens if Naruto restores Minato's arms. Like, that's definitely going to happen. At some point, Naruto is going to restore Minato's arms, and maybe Hashirama will tell them of a way to fight Kaguya or something, something towards that effect. But I can't wait for the Hokages to arrive. See what happens.
That's good.
All right, that's it. That's anime time, which I think was really good, very entertaining. Well, all the action and everything was, especially at the end. Madara versus the first. That's kind of hard to. That's a good thing, and especially.
I've been waiting so long for that fight to be animated.
That giant Buddha statue with all the arms sticking out.
The 1,000 Buddhas, man.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
Yeah. I wish they would have showed the fight in its entirety before going to the flashback, but it's okay. We'll get the rest of it probably at the end of the next episode.
Hopefully, yeah.
Well, so funny, and I'm gonna tell this quick story. Me and my family, my immediate family, we've been watching the show for a long time, and we usually watch it together.
Yeah.
And my old lady's just sitting there with her mouth out. Now she don't. It takes a lot for her to, get excited about something.
Yeah.
So we're watching it, and her mouth just drops when she sees Hashirama with the 1,000-hand Buddha. She said, "Oh, that's it. The fight's over." I started laughing. I just thought that was so funny because it was the truth. Like, that ending was so epic. It's ridiculous. The best ending I ever seen.
He just turns it on. He's like, "All right, like I'm throwing little dragons here, little hands there, and like." Stage art, like super Buddha, just like all of a sudden he's in stage mode. All of a sudden he's got 1,000 hands of wood like coming out of the ground. It's just like, what the hell?
Guy went from a comedian to the god shinobi in like 2 minutes.
Well, I mean, think of how it started though. Okay, Madara throws out the beast bomb, and Hashirama catches it. And flings it back at him, right? And that's how it starts. And then Madara, he's got the Susanoo, he's got the whole thing, he's got everything going, and he pushes him back, and he looks like he's just gonna win, right? And the guy's like, "No, sorry. The way it works in the Naruto universe is I trump you every time." And
yeah, but the build-up was beautiful when Hashirama.
It was great. It was a great. I'm not criticizing it at all.
Yeah.
It was wonderful, but it was great because Madara is sitting there in this dominant position.
Yeah.
And he thinks he's going to win, and Hashirama's like, "No, I really don't think so." And just
I like the part where he says, "I didn't want to use this because I don't want to kill you, but I got to go for it." When he put his hands together and turned into the sage art, I said, "That's it. This fight is over."
And that's another thing, Kishi. Tell us what sage art he's using.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
Is it obviously it's not the props, but like what sage art is it? That's something that always bothered me. Like little things, again, the little things.
Right. Well, right. I think most people would be more forgiving, on this, especially just watching it, because there are issues, but
we can deal with it on this one.
Yeah, we can let some of this slide. I mean,
because there was so much epicness in this. The Sansuru covering the 9 tails and having it like an armor, like that was just crazy. Like wow.
Yeah, it was all like him trying to appeal once again after all this. Hey, we're shinobi. You're dishonoring everything. We got it. This is going to cause problems, right? We're friends. I mean, Hashirama's throwing everything out there to try to stop this guy from fighting, right? And he's like, well, okay, I'll just have to kick your ass. My dad's just, he won't stop. So, oh yeah, it was awesome. It was really good.
The thing I like what he said though was even heavier. He told Madara, he said, if we do this, this is going to affect our kids.
Yeah.
It's going to affect our family. You know what I mean? And like you said, he tried everything. But when he said that, I was like, this guy doesn't listen to him after this. There's going to be problems. And there was a lot of problems.
Well, and he was doing the same thing with his brother. He's like, look, Sasuke is a Uchiha. Quit talking like that about his clan. Stop it. Because he's like, look, if things go wrong here, then he's going to turn into another Madara. So he's the peace guy. He's always trying to do anything he can to stop the war, right?
Does he remind you of someone?
What do you mean,
Does
Naruto?
He remind you of someone?
You mean like Naruto, or?
Well, definitely, without question. You know what I mean? Like even his comedian, his comedy that's Naruto.
Yeah.
Where he doesn't take everything so serious, but when he does take something serious, Naruto's a problem.
Yeah.
Just like Hashirama.
Naruto's always been foreshadowed to be like Hashirama ever since Tsunade put the necklace on him.
Exactly.
Speaking of Tsunade, I love the little flashback with the gambling.
She had a lot of money.
He's like, she's in charge. Oh my gosh, I ruined her. I spoiled her.
No, the other funny part is when the fourth Hokage, he asked who he was. He turns his back around and looks at his robe and goes, I'm the fourth Hokage.
Who's this guy?
It's like, who the hell is this guy? Wow.
Yeah,
But I know one thing though. In this episode, I really like how frightened Sugetsu was when the second Hokage got mad and he started powering up. And he was looking all frightened like, oh my God. And then Saratobi goes, he says, whew, so glad he stopped him. When Hashirama stopped Tobirama from...
The funny thing about it was that Suigetsu was like, this is the first Hokage? Like, oh God, like, he's not intimidating at all. And then, like, then when, he used his chakra to stop his brother, it was like, oh my God, he's like a god, I don't know what he said, but...
Yeah, but Orochimaru said, from the god Shinobi.
Yeah.
I used to think that was such a myth, like, ain't nobody could be that bad. Until I seen this episode, I was so convinced.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think now. Did this episode show Tobirama like cracking the room? Because I know in the manga.
No, he did. It did. It did.
Right?
Yeah, and he put his hands on the wall. Remember in the manga they showed him putting his hands on the wall?
Yeah.
And then he cracks the wall, but then Orochimaru stops him.
Right.
But then Orochimaru tries to stop Hashirama, but realized he couldn't do it. He said, this guy's way out of my league.
Right. Did that happen in this episode?
Yeah, it did.
Okay.
And we know what's going to get said in the next one. The first is going to say, well, they already said it, and then he's going to know it.
Yeah.
The next one. So Ochimaru, but he already knows. These guys are kind of, yeah. Well, all right. Well, anything more about the episode or whatever? Because it was a lot of fun. Do you guys want to talk about before we're done, or?
Yeah, I just like the dialogue in this. The explanation that Sasuke got told by the first Hokage. You know what I mean? And I like the fact that Sasuke is even smart enough to ask questions instead of acting.
It's just like, the best part of the episode is the interaction between the Hokages. Because it's like, like the first and the second have no idea what's going on with the fourth, and Saratobi is like their student. So it's just that's a cool little thing, but also just how Orochimaru is like an instigator.
Yeah, that's true.
The second Hokage is like, figures those evil Uchiha brats, ended up in a coup, and Orochimaru is like, well, yeah, but it was because of you.
Your policies,
He did tell the truth, though. It was like, all that stuff you were saying about the Uchihas, you had the nerve to make them police. Like, why would you make the most cursed clan officers of the law? He said that was your fault.
Moved him out of the village next to the prison, and yeah, it's. Well, I want to say something that you can really see with Kishimoto when he likes characters or spends time with them. They have really interesting personalities. Like you can look at Sasuke, and you know how he's going to react to things.
Yeah.
And Naruto. So that's a genius of Kishimoto. A lot of these characters. That's why it was so entertaining watching this, because the first and the second have such, and the second has got a freaking temper, doesn't he? Huh?
Yeah, I wonder if he talked like that to his brother all the time.
Oh well, you can see though when the brother was gone, there was no checking that guy, right? So you know some people got stomped pretty quickly as soon as it's like, huh, really, bam. So yeah. But the definite personalities you can see, and even all four, they're really different characters, right? The four Hokages that were there, really different. Ochomaru, real different character. Sasuke, so he's created some really awesome characters.
What do you think about Saratobi's emotion when he seen Sasuke and he said to him, basically admitting, oh, you know what happened then, and kind of felt bad. Like if you looked at the emotion on his face,
Yeah.
Like you can tell he felt really bad.
Oh, he looked ashamed.
Yeah, he really did. Like that, I thought that was pretty good job that Studio Period did by showing that type of emotion in the anime, because it really didn't come off too well in the manga. But when you see the anime version of it, you're like, oh, I feel it more. You know what I mean?
He even said I. Like he took all the blame for it. He's like, I made your brother into a spy. You know, I told your brother to assassinate. He didn't say I told your brother to assassinate him, but basically, you know, he was basically saying I and everything he was telling Sasuke.
Yeah, he was atoning for his mistakes.
Yeah, he owned up to it. Yeah, you're right. That was good. He looked at him like he's like, okay, then you know basically that I'm part dirtbag, is what you know. And so he's like, this guy's he's not looking up to me like maybe he was before after he knows this.
Yeah.
So Kishimoto's got a lot of awesomeness to us. I mean, we nailed a lot of his problems, but he's got some pretty phenomenal characters and stuff that he's done in this story. But we need to talk about both of them, man. I don't want to ever pull the punches either. I mean, he's got issues, but he's got awesomeness too.
And then there was the line. And then there was the line with when Toby Rama said, "Oh, you've brought us back to our closer to our original forms. Like we still have it, you know." And it kind of goes what I've been arguing for a long time on forums, is that I've always said that the Hokages, when they were first brought back by Orochimaru, that the jutsu was, you know, the Edo Tensei wasn't complete. Mm-hmm. That, like, you know, it was a much weaker version. But then when Kabuto brought the Edo Tensei back, he said he improved on it. And so that makes a lot of sense to me. And, you know, that the first Edo Tensei was, you know, much crappier. It explains why, you know, the first Hokage and the second Hokage were moving so slow. And even though they were using, like, big jutsus, you know, they were basically being, you know, like, used like puppets. They weren't, you know, like, fluid. They were slow moving, and, you know, it was just a much less grander fight than what we've been seeing now. And so I kind of defend Kishi on that by saying he gave an explanation with Kabuto, saying that Kabuto improved the jutsu. And then, like, now, right now, Orochimaru took all the information from Kabuto, so it makes sense how he can bring the Hokages back now more closer to what Kabuto's been doing, you know?
Right.
So,
it does.
Yeah,
and it also creates a big problem for Ochomaru, but yeah.
Yeah, no, because I'm just saying, like, I remember having arguments over this, and people saying, oh, no, it's bullcrap, it makes no sense, but, but you know, but it really does. Kishi explained it really well here. You know, take Kabuto's DNA, take his memories.
I'll tell you who just became my favorite character as of this chapter. And that's
like that too?
Hashirama. And I'm going to tell you why.
What do you mean?
During that conversation that he had with Sasuke, it was something real important he said. The first thing he said, it doesn't matter what era it is, things never change.
Oh, my favorite line was when
Like no, only and let me finish telling you why I like that comment, because he figured that when he was here and he changed a lot of stuff, he figured it would remain that way even in the future. But he felt almost shame, like he didn't do enough.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And that's cool that Kishimoto conveyed that to us, because it shows you no matter how godly your perception is, because he's considered the god Shinobi, he still has real emotions. He hurts just like everybody else, and he has faults just like everybody else. That's what I thought was cool, how he translated that over to the first Hokage being that way. I thought that was pretty cool.
yeah. I mean, like we know the reason why things keep staying the same, why it never changes, because of Black Zetsu.
I hate him. I hate him. I hate him.
But
And I gotta say that.
but my favorite part, what Hashirama actually said, was he said that if we he said that if we go right now, it won't change anything because Sasuke will just become the next Madara or something towards that effect. He said like
Yeah, yeah.
we have to ensure that this child, that this child doesn't grow up full of hatred like Madara or something like that. Whatever he said, it was good. It's one of my favorite lines.
Well, I just wanted you to know, Mr. Marcus, that Black Zetsu thinks you're being very rebellious,
Oh my
and
god.
you need to atone to the Mother Goddess.
No, it's not. He doesn't call her the mother god. He says, "Come back to mother." Everybody is Kage's children. We're all Kage's
Yeah,
children.
yeah, the goddess.
Yeah, she makes me sick. She really does. I swear to God, I seen some psycho people in my life, but this chick is done. Like, she's like totally finished. Like, I don't know what is her problem, really. Like, I understand what your sons did, but look what you was doing. Like, you act like you were good or something. Like, she wasn't.
Well, see, this is what good characters are complicated characters, right? Because I mean, look at all of them. Hashirama is this kind of goofball kind of guy that's powerful, so he's got his good and bad. The biggest shock to me was the third.
Why?
Well, his dirtbaggery. I mean, he did some really nasty stuff himself. The whole thing with Itachi and all that.
Yeah, that was dirty, but
Oh,
the biggest problem with Saratobi, it wasn't really that so much,
yeah.
because he did that for the sake of the village. That wasn't my problem. My problem with him was how he handled Donzo.
Oh, yeah.
That
Putting
was
up with
my
him for
problem.
so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that it looked like Donzo was running the Hidden Leaf Village. Didn't it appear that?
Part of it he was, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? That's what I
Donzo
didn't like.
had influence with the elders. That's why the elders liked him, and they respected his opinion.
Well, that was a part of his group, right? That he was part of his little group there.
They all were. Yeah, they were all friends. Younger.
Yeah. But what I'm driving to is, look, even Toby Rama, who, I mean, some of these guys we think they're great, and you find out they're goofballs. And Toby Rama, how many people wanted to lynch Toby Rama?
Oh man, I remember when you had that comment section. I remember it was real bad that day. That's when I was Mushidama at the time, remember? And I remember you was getting some ridiculous comments, but a lot of people were truly upset. Like that went on for a while. That was bad.
It's very seldom. Sometimes I pick up on stuff quickly. Usually not, but sometimes I do. When I saw that, I said, "Oh boy, this guy's going to trigger people, right, left, center, behind."
And believe it or not, it really truly did. It triggered a lot, and even on other people's channel, it was just really bad. Like, I thought they were going to boycott, like they was going to write to Kishimoto and say boycott this character. I really thought they were going to do that.
We're going to start burning Naruto books. But this is the beauty of a complex character. Then we come over and we find out that the first just wanted to hand the village over to Madara. And it was the second that comes like, oh no, we're going to do democracy. People need to be able to vote for who they want. And so he was Mr. Democracy guy. And, I mean, he was. So he had some good qualities, right? And, he's got his dirtbag problems, but That's what I'm saying. That these guys, the bad ones need to have some good qualities, and the good ones need to have some bad qualities to make them interesting. And
Yeah.
Kishimoto does that, right?
Looks like Mr. Marcus just dropped out, and the little Life in the Boot just joined us.
Life in the Boot. You're right here at the end.
I was off. I looked at it yesterday. I guess it was supposed to start at 11, but I guess I got the wrong time.
Oh no, you're thinking about last night's. No, this one is 6:30.
Yeah, I know. I was looked at it last night for the Naruto. It said $18 or something like that. I was trying to add it up in my head. It was like 10 or 11. So I guess I got it wrong. Luckily, I just logged into my Gmail just to see. So I guess live.
I was literally just about 30 seconds from closing this whole thing out. Well, if there's anything you got at the end, go ahead and throw it out about Naruto. But we just got done with the anime, actually. But is there anything you want to bring up real quick before we close this out?
You remember, he goes, what that is that Madara used to escape from, dying by Hiroshima?
No, the Izanagi.
Izanagi? Yeah, we talked about that quite a bit. You're not buying it? You don't like the time delay, Izanagi?
Yeah, I do like it. But you remember yesterday you said, like you didn't like it because, he was halfway dead after he used it. What?
Yeah, which is exactly what I said in the hangout earlier. I said that's one of the things I said. Why didn't he come back all the way? And Michael, do you want to tell him your take on it?
Yeah, my take on it is, body was dead. There shouldn't have been any chakra in it, and it makes no sense how the eye can have chakra in it when the body is dead and then just activate with no trigger. Itachi's, when he gave Sasuke the Amaterasu in Sasuke's eye, he placed a condition on it where it would activate if Sasuke saw Tobi's face or whatever, and it made sense because it was a jutsu placed in his eye. There was chakra activated in Sasuke. It makes fine perfect sense. But for Madara to just activate it after death, a long time after his death, we're talking about a point where his body was moved and relocated under the ground. And sometime after that, the eye just activates by itself when there should be no chakra in the body. It just feels like a total asshole to me.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down because we're going to basically do the whole show again. So I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. I appreciate everybody. Life in the Boot. Wish you'd have got here a little sooner, or maybe a lot sooner. But anyway, I appreciate everybody. Mr. Marcus, appreciate you coming in here, helping out a lot as always. And until next time.